What's up? Mini MFG and Eric MFG. It's Father's Day. She just took me to see.
Oh, you drove.
That's true. Not only did I drive, but I also paid. But we saw Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff movie. Or you could call this John Wick Light, because it's basically a John Wick movie with Anna de Armas as Eve McCarran as the main character.
Yeah.
Anything to say?
I do not think that this movie needed to be made.
We were walking out of theater. She's like, I thought that movie was unnecessary. Well, they should have just made John Wick 5, because that's basically what this movie is. It's John Wick, but with a different character.
I saw somewhere on TikTok that said this movie is supposed to be before John Wick 4.
Yes, it takes place between 3 and 4.
Yeah, but then he says something in the movie about his dog or whatever, and then...
Yeah, we have to go watch 3 because it takes place in 3.
It makes no sense how he would be there.
So, Eve McCarran, she's the ballerina. She watches her dad be murdered in the beginning of the movie, and Ian McShane, Winston, takes her into the family, and they train her to...
Jiu-jitsu.
They basically train her to be... I forget the name of who she is in the actual movie, but to be like the main contract killer on their side. And she's like, remember when she was trying to be a ballerina and her like toes were like all jacked up and bloody, and Angelica Houston, she was like again over and over again. But you know, you see her go through all the training, which is one thing that I liked, because in John Wick you never actually see his background. You only ever see him as John Wick. You don't see his like upcoming, but with her you see her training, how she's told. She's like, you can't beat a man, so you have to cheat in order to win. So yeah, so basically that's it. She's elevated to like the top contract killer for the family, but then she decides to go after the people who killed her father, which creates a big war between the two tribes. So that's basically it. And one thing I got to say right off the bat, that Ian McShane and Gabriel Byrne look almost very similar, and I had trouble telling them apart in the beginning. So
which one was that?
Gabriel Byrne was the bad guy. Gabriel Byrne he's the guy who killed Eve McCarran's father, and Ian McShane is Winston. He's in charge. He's the manager of the Continental. So yeah, this movie, the last third of this movie is like nonstop action. I mean, it's kind of out of control. And the flamethrower battles, those were awesome. She was carrying around this flamethrower, and she was like shooting it at all. She was burning all these guys, and then this other guy had a flamethrower, and then yeah, it was flamethrowers back and forth. And yes, John Wick is in the movie. He's in the movie for about a minute in the beginning, but then he shows up near the end because he's sent in to take her out.
Find peace.
Yeah, and he actually had some fighting roles. I mean, honestly, if John Wick wasn't in this movie, or this wasn't a John Wick movie, I don't know if people would really be able to see it.
I think they had to bring him in, because then it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just the fact that John Wick's in it elevated this movie to, you know, otherwise it's just a standard female-led action movie.
Fighting movie.
So, and the action was good, and I did like all the fight scenes. But like she said, the movie's kind of unnecessary, but I still enjoyed it. Anything else to say?
I'm waiting for John Wick 5.
Yeah, John Wick 5. I can't wait for John Wick 5. So, is this movie better than any of the John Wick movies? No, not even close. I think John Wick 2 is my favorite. 1 or 2. So, this movie's only 2 hours. John Wick 4 is like 3 hours, but this movie felt longer than 2 hours. And the action at the end, it just goes on and on and on. And you had like 26 minutes before midnight to take out everybody.
It was 11:32.
28 minutes. And I felt like in actual real life, there was like 40 minutes of screen time after that. So anyway, good action, maybe unnecessary. It's a John Wick movie. John Wick's barely in it. Probably 10 minutes. So 7.5. Probably 7.5 for me.
6.19. 6.91.
And she wanted to see it. So
no, I didn't. I told you that in the trailer it looked dumb.
Whatever.
Yeah.
She wanted to see it. Anyway, that's our review of John Wick, or of Ballerina in a John Wick universe. So that's about it. We're out of here.
Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, bruh.